Today we're doing a grammar lesson. For a few seconds. Okay, let's begin. Namaskar. Today's lesson is about having. We are learning how to say to have in Bengali. Having something. I have, we have, you have, he or she has. We'll look at all of those. So let's begin. Having. In Bangla, the way we think of having is very different than how we think of it in English. In English, have is an action, having is an action, and we use this word have with any person the way we use any other verb with a person. So, the way I would say I do in English, the same way I would say I have as well. In Bangla, however, having is not a separate verb. So let's understand what is going on behind this. The way we understand having is that when you have something, then it is something of yours that exists with you, or in your house, or in your possession. So it is something of yours that's present. That equates to having something. That something of yours is there. Something of yours exists, and so you say, I have the thing. So this can refer to any of your material possessions or any of your relationships or any pets. That comes under relationships as well. So material, if you want to say I have a car, or relationship, I have a brother, or pets, I have a cat. In each of these scenarios, having in Bangla will be used in the same way, and we will see how. So, if we think about the way I mentioned earlier, having a car, having a brother, having a cat, how does that look? I have a car means there is a car that's mine. My car exists, right? That's how I have it. There is a certain car that comes under my ownership, which means I have the car. Brother, you have a brother. There's a brother, that's yours. A brother exists, which is yours. And a pet works in the same way. There is a cat, that's yours. A cat exists, which is yours or under your ownership. So, grammatically, if you look at this, when we want to express having in Bangla, we are always saying that something of mine exists. Here, two words are significant to frame our sentence. One is exists. So, the word that signifies or expresses exists or is present or is there, all of these, the word is ache. Very familiar Bangla word, ache. Ache means is, are, exists. Something is there, present. That's ache. That's one word. The other word that's significant to express having is my. If you want to say I have. So I have would require the word my, because it's my thing that exists. My is amar. Amar. And if you want to say your, then we have learned this already. So go watch that training. This is covered in part 3 of how to say you. We have seen in detail how to say the 3 forms of your. So tor, tomar, apnar. Amar for I have, tor, tomar or apnar for you have, right? These are the 2 things we need. One is the ache word and the other is the my, your, this possession form, possessive forms of these pronouns. Grammar enthusiasts, these words are for you. So these forms will be used. Now if I want to say he or she has something, we'll see how that works as well. To build up this grammar, we will first work with I have and you have. So the words we now have in our bank to work on this is ache, amar, tor, tomar, apnar. These are the 5 words we have. So let's begin. First sentence is I have a car. When you want to say I have one of something, I have a something, I have an something. When you want to express something like this, we use the word acta. Acta. Ac is one. Acta is one of something. Acta will be used here. আমার একটা গাড়ি আছে। আমার একটা গাড়ি আছে। আমার একটা গাড়ি আছে। So that means I have a car. Now we will say you have a car in three ways. First, তোর একটা গাড়ি আছে। তোর একটা গাড়ি আছে। Second way, তোমার একটা গাড়ি আছে। তোমার একটা গাড়ি আছে। Third way, আপনার একটা গাড়ি আছে। আপনার একটা গাড়ি আছে। I have mentioned this before. When we say spoken Bangla, the words in a sentence tend to blend into each other. So if I say the last sentence, it will sound something like আপনার একটা গাড়ি আছে। আপনার একটা গাড়ি আছে। The beginning of one word is blending into the end of its previous word. So that tends to happen in many languages, in Bengali as well. These are how to say I have a car, you have a car. Now, we can use the same structure for pets. We are using biral here. I will say আমার একটা বিড়াল আছে। আমার একটা বিড়াল আছে। I have a cat. You have a cat in three ways will be তোর একটা বিড়াল আছে, তোমার একটা বিড়াল আছে, আপনার একটা বিড়াল আছে। You have a cat. When we want to say I have a brother or you have a brother, then here we are saying I have one of a brother, which is a person. So the word one of any person is একজন. একজন. Ak is the number one and jon means one of any person or human. So it's a counter used for humans. Ekjon means a, an, or one when we refer to any person. So I will say I have a brother. আমার একজন ভাই আছে। আমার একজন ভাই আছে। You have a brother in three ways. তোর একজন ভাই আছে। তোমার একজন ভাই আছে। আপনার একজন ভাই আছে। You have a brother. So we saw all the three sentences, any material possession, any relationship, or pets, which is also relationship. How to say I have in these cases, right? So we have been using amar, tor, tomar, and apnar. Now we want to ask this as a question. Do you have a car? Now we can use the question towards our own selves as well. Like, do I have a car? So let's start there. Maybe you're quizzing someone. You're asking them, do I have a car? Do you know? Do you remember? So there are scenarios when you can use this question. Do I have a car? Let's start with that. The question will be, what do we do for yes/no questions? You should know if you have watched part 3 of how to say you. Do I have a car is আমার কি একটা গাড়ি আছে? আমার কি একটা গাড়ি আছে? And then, do you have a car? In three ways. তোর কি একটা গাড়ি আছে? তোমার কি একটা গাড়ি আছে? And আপনার কি একটা গাড়ি আছে? Okay, so this is about cars. Next, we will do pets because that also uses একটা. So, আমার কি একটা বিড়াল আছে? আমার কি একটা বিড়াল আছে? Do I have a cat? Now, do you have a cat? তোর কি একটা বিড়াল আছে? তোমার কি একটা বিড়াল আছে? And আপনার কি একটা বিড়াল আছে? Keep in mind, when I'm saying acta in these cases, in these questions, it actually specifically means Do I have one car? Do I have one cat? Okay. If you want to just say, do I have cars? Not one car specifically. I'm not saying, do I have one car or do I have two cars? I'm just saying, do I have a car? Do I have any car? Right? Am I the owner of a car? If that's your question, then you do not say একটা. You simply say, আমার কি গাড়ি আছে? Do I have cars? Do I have that material possession? That is your focus. In Bangla, any word you use inside of a sentence has a meaning. It carries some weight. It is not just there for, aesthetic purposes. Usually, it carries some weight and contributes towards the meaning of the sentence. So, because acta means one of or one something, counting, that is why when you say আমার কি একটা গাড়ি আছে, that implies, do I have one car? Do I have a car? Do I have one car? Or do I have two? It can mean a lot of things. So if you just want to say, do I have cars? Then you say, আমার কি গাড়ি আছে? Same with তোমার, আপনার. All the examples that I gave you, you can remove একটা and say, আমার কি গাড়ি আছে? Do I have cars? তোর কি গাড়ি আছে? তোমার কি গাড়ি আছে? আপনার কি গাড়ি আছে? Do you have a car? Do you have cars? And for pets, আমার কি বিড়াল আছে? Do I have cats? And তোর কি বিড়াল আছে? তোমার কি বিড়াল আছে? And আপনার কি বিড়াল আছে? Okay. Now we are coming into questions for brother, the brother example. Do I have a brother? Do I have one brother? That's one way of questioning when we will use the word acta. Do I have brothers in general? That will be the other way of questioning. So I will do both one after the other. First, আমার কি একটা ভাই আছে? That's incorrect, right? আমার কি একজন ভাই আছে? That's for people. Or I can simply say, আমার কি ভাই আছে? Do I have brothers? Now we will say, do you have a brother? তোর কি একজন ভাই আছে? Or তোর কি ভাই আছে? In তুমি form, তোমার কি একজন ভাই আছে? Or তোমার কি ভাই আছে? In আপনি form, আপনার কি একজন ভাই আছে? Or আপনার কি ভাই আছে? Okay. So hopefully this distinction is clear. When you want to specifically mention, do you have one of this thing? Then you mention একটা or একজন if it's a person. If you want to generally ask if you have that thing in general, then you do not use that word. Okay. This can carry over to other numbers. So the same way we are saying একটা to mean one, you can ask someone, for example, do you have two cars? Then we will be using the word for two, right? So there the number has some significance in the question. However, when you're asking the question, do you have it or do you not? Then the number is not of any significance. So we will not use it. Hopefully that is clear. That is how to say having, which is clearly different from the English words that we use. So I say, I have a car in English. If you want to think about translating this word by word, you might think that, okay, I is ami, have is something, and car is gari. Ami gari ache does not work. That is not correct. Ami ekta gari ache is not correct. If you look at the words in Bangla, ekta gari ache means a car is there. So my car is there is the correct form, which is why we say amar ekta gari ache, not ami ekta gari ache. Okay, so this is the key difference between English and Bangla when we say having. Having is understood very differently in these languages, Bengali and other Asian, South Asian languages. When we have something, we say that that thing of ours exists. That is why ache is used. So that's the recap for what we did so far. Now, if you have to say he or she has something, that will be a different set of words and verbs. So I think we will do that in the next part. Um, the following parts of this will cover how to say he has something, she has something, and we will see how to say these same sentences when there are multiple number of people. So I have a car, we have a car. You have a car, you guys have a car. He or she has a car, they have a car. When it turns to plural, what happens? We will see that as well. So he or she, plurals, and we will also look at how to negate these sentences. How to say I do not have a car, I do not have a pet, I do not have siblings. So we will see that this is quite long already. So that is why I'm deciding to do this in the next part. Yeah, keep practicing. Thank you for staying with me until the end. Thank you so much. Namaskar.